much, guys. Thank you, Ricky and Fernando. Amazing. And if you haven't had any money or want to use the cash facility for what more one the swipe card or whatever, if you want to use it, it's still right here at half time at the end of the month. Very good. Anyway, welcome to another acoustic night at the barn. We basically put this on here once every month. We have a concert here, and we'd love you guys to come back again. Who's here for the first time? Excellent, that's brilliant. And thank you for all the guys who come back again as well. So on your seats, you'll see a little leaflet for advertising our next concert. It's basically a home gospel choir. Now, there's literally a handful of tickets left. They're sold out. So first come, first served, and that one. So on the little flyer is a QR code, which will take you to buy tickets, or also will take you to where you can put your name on our email list or sign up for a Facebook page. And we'd love you to do that, because then we can keep in touch with you and then get you back here again. Okay?
Choir tickets. There was no seating left.
Yeah, it's only standing left. Yes, it was sold out all the seats. I think there's 5 standing tickets left for gospel choir. Okay? But beyond that there, into a new year, in January we've got a brilliant semi-musical, I'd call it, coming along called Broken Instruments. It's I've heard it, it's absolutely amazing. Especially the girl who sings in it, her voice is unbelievable. Just come along to hear the girl, right? She's lovely. So look at us, Broken Instruments is the end of January. I can't remember the date, it's the end of January. But if you scan into your QR code, you'll be led onto all the different concerts we have. And then in February we are into some poetry. Who's into poetry?
Yes.
Nobody, okay. Well, we've got a guy called Harry Baker. Have you ever heard of Harry Baker? He's a top guy, but I don't know how we got him here, to be honest. Yeah, so I've twist a few arms and whatever to get Harry here, but like top guy. So I know that we've sold out, so I guess you guys may get tickets soon. Yeah, he sold out Left Bank recently. He sold out somewhere in Horsforth recently. So I guess get in there quick. I'm telling you now, because you don't get tickets if you don't get in quick. Once people find out about it, you're the first to know. You see.
When in February?
I can't remember the dates. Go online on that barcode and the dates are in there. Okay. But tonight we're privileged to have with us a brilliant singer-songwriter. Basically, he's what have I written down about it here? I've got to look at this here because I'm going to forget. What have I said about you, Gareth? Yes, you've got it right there. Yes. So basically, yeah, he's top troubadour in the folk scene. He's been endorsed by Bob Harris and Jazz Lowe, 2 top guys who know a lot about folk. So it's a real privilege to have him here tonight. He's all the way from my homeland, right, Northern Ireland, except he's been living up in Jordyland for quite a while. So you might not quite notice the accent, I don't know, it's a mixture between, and he's a Newcastle United supporter as well. So I'd like you to give a big acoustic night at the barn welcome to Gareth Davies-Jones.
So I take it there's some Chelsea fans in there? Terribly sorry, not really. Anyway. I'm marking 20 years doing this, but you can hardly believe myself after 16 albums or so. So I'm going to take you on a bit of a journey sort of through them all and pick bits out as I go. But this is from back in 2006, and I guess you could say some things change, but some things sadly stay the same. Struggle vacuum filled by the backroom staff of a former dictator. What you leave undone will come to haunt you later when your back's turned on all the mess. Well, innocent cover used as a mandate, gun smuggled into Baroque State G8, give with the one-hand big alliance. Take it all back, it's a big contrivance, freedom fighter, political violence, bomb is a lesson, the idea behind it, fanatical martyrs, senseless slaughter, millions moving run to the borders, yeah, the money goes right, yeah, the money goes right, but what about those that were lying on the ground? While the money goes round, Big change, weather is deranged, spinning out of control. Hurricane no-go, big disaster, natural causes might have been stopped by the ones before us. Future's frightening, comes in cycles, won't give up our carbon vices. Read enough Greek, industrial science. Climate is one thing money can buy. Oh, still the money goes round. Yeah, the money goes round. And what about those that are lying on the ground? While the money goes round, no one can serve two masters. They will love the one and hate the other. No one can serve two masters. They will love the one and hate the other. Yeah, what cat, what ignorance, fashion victim. Keep them in the dark, don't need convictions. Markets done and world position. What's at the bottom can join the system. And here come the rich, the ones who stitch up developing nations. With big payments, open up your borders, break resistance, pay up your interest and we'll listen. Still the money goes round. Yeah, the money goes round. And what about those that are lying on the ground? While the money goes round. Money, money, money. Isn't it funny to know that it's still a rich man's world? What about those that are lying on the ground? While the money goes round. While the money goes round. So it may not, or may have escaped your notice, but up in Northumberland we lost a tree. We didn't so much lose it, I suppose, as it kind of sort of disappeared overnight. And a lot of people are very unhappy about that, me included. I'm involved in another project, and we actually got photographed in front of it last year, which I think is quite a unique band shot. It's got the tree in the background, and then all of us kind of in front of it. But Sycamore Gap, yes, is now just Gap, basically, as we call it up there. But I wrote this back in, I did an album in 2008 called Water and Light, and I wrote this as a kind of tribute to the Cheviot Hills, because it's a place that you can walk all day and not see a single soul, you know, a very special place. It's the England's border county with the hills that kind of straddle either side of the border. And you know, you go to the Lake District and get to the top of a hill and you'll celebrate with 1,000 other people sometimes. But in Northumberland, you know, you can, like I say, you can walk all day and not see a single soul. And the folks even further up in Iona, they talk about thin places where perhaps heaven and earth touch each other a little bit more closely. And I think I'm into that, I have to say. And the Cheviots are like that for me. A few years back, Songs of Praise, BBC asked me to sing this as part of a thing that they were doing from the Lake District, actually. They filmed myself and my daughter Ronnie singing this song, going around that island on Derwentwater, and I didn't have the heart to tell them that it wasn't about the Lake District, it's about the Cheviot Hills. But they were paying, so I just kept Anyway, this is my tribute to the Borderlands. It's something called Borderland. When the wind is high in the northern sky, and it shakes its mane in rage, when there's not a single breath, and when all that is left is your love for me, it's when I head for o'er those hills in the borderland fringe, where the breeze is like a prayer, and it whispers some places are thin with so little between earth and air. And here is where I lose myself, and here is where I lose myself in you. Wide open spaces, incomparable places, as the morning testifies to when I walk on these ridges in lingering light, and even the silence cries. Oh, further up, take me further in, won't you show me secret things, shadows and echoes of glories to come, when all will be revealed. And here is where I lose myself, and here is where I lose myself in you. And here is where I lose myself, and here is where I lose myself in you.
Thank you. So I guess we're always kind of listening out if we ever get anything played on the radio or anything like that, we're always on the listen out for something that we can use in our publicity, you know, like a quote from someone famous sometimes helps, you know, to convince people that you're worth coming to listen to or whatever. And so I'm going to play you my hit now. It was played on Radio 2 once, which means it counts. And it was played by Claire Balding on Good Morning Sunday. I don't even know if she still presents that, but anyway, she played it, and it's a song called All Things Come, which is the title that I've taken for this sort of retrospective tour that I'm doing most of this coming year, looking back over 20 years in the game. And so I was there with my notepad and my pen, and I was leaning in for something important that she was going to say at the end, you know. And the track finished, she faded it down, and she leaned in and she said, "That was nice." And that was it. And you know, I've never really been quite brave enough to put that on a leaflet. Maybe one day. Anyway, so the song, it's one of those list songs, I guess, that sometimes comes to us as songwriters. And I think I turned sort of 40 at that time, and I was looking back over everything that I felt I'd achieved or not, and everything that I wanted to kind of go on and do. And I guess that idea of continuing to be patient no matter what stage of your life you're at, and take it step by step is, I guess, what's behind this. So anyway, all things come, and I hope that you find it nice.
whether it be beautiful brokenness, whether it be losing all I do not possess, whether it be anger that I can't explain, whether it be the fear of the fall and the pain, will all things come, will all things come, will all things come to those who wait. Whether it be sky eternally blue, whether it be all the good that I hoped we would do, or whether it be borders that cannot be crossed, or whether it be compassion that we've lost, will all things come, will all things come, will all things come to those who wait. I know I've dreamed of something better while I'm waiting to get wiser, but life goes speeding past me, then it's gone. And all those obstacles I'm facing, turns out they're the things that change me, and they've been part of the journey all along. Whoa, things come. All things come to those who wait. Whether it be light on a dreary day, whether it be hope that we once turned away, whether it be the seed for the big idea, whether it be where we are going or why we are here. All things come, all things come, all things come to those who wait.
So I brought some guitars, you see. Just a few. Lots of different voices. I guess if you're a solo artist, it just helps to have some other voices kind of coming in. And these guitars, because I'm going back across all these different albums, I've used lots of them on different songs. So it's kind of partly that, but partly just because it looks great. So early in the night, but I wondered whether you might just sing along with this one. You've had enough coffee, or some tea, or whatever it is you know. We're amongst friends. So this is a song called "Tear It All Down," and it was written in response to an organisation called Tear Fund, who invited a lot of different artists down to London, not just musicians, but poets and painters and prose writers and all kinds. And they wanted us to respond to the kingdom sayings in the Gospels, of which there are 8. The kingdom of God is like, it's things that Jesus said about the kingdom of heaven. And they wanted us to go back and not just look kind of within our own artistic kind of repertoire, but also look at our communities and how did it strike us in the light of what we've been talking about. And so people went back and made all sorts of different things. And funny enough, I wrote a song because that was my thing. And the song's called "Tear It All Down." The chorus goes, "Tear it all down, tear it all down. Some kingdoms they rise, but they fall to the ground." So tear it all down, tear it all down. Some kingdoms they rise, but they fall to the ground. Now, unless you're Alan, you don't have to sing it in an Irish accent. It's quite funny. My daughter, born and raised in Northumberland, but when she sings with me, she goes all very Northern Irish. It's quite good. There's one of the Celts still in her. It's good. Anyway, turn it all down. You'll pick it up. Here we go. By the way, this is the tenor guitar. Sadly, not because it cost a tenor, that would have been nice, but it's just the 4 strings instead of the 6, and it's got a lovely sort of little sound to it, so you'll see. So turn it all down. Here we
go. Deep in the ordinary, lost in mundane, I looked for the sign, for the spark, for the flame, pressed upon lives like those marks on the shrine. I was never quite sure, was that you in the crime? Stupid. So tear it all down, tear it all down. Some kingdoms they rise, but they fall to the ground. Tear it all down, tear it all down. Some kingdoms they rise, but they fall to the ground. Far from familiar, yet closer to home. That moment of wonder in a world of its own. Fragile beginnings and significant things rising among us, yet mostly unseen. So tear it all down, tear it all down. Some kingdoms they rise, but they fall to the ground. Tear it all down, tear it all down. Some kingdoms they rise, but they fall to the ground. Growing but you don't know how, and gaining but you don't know why. Among us, but you don't know where. Home, but we don't recognize. So tear it all down, tear it all down. Some kingdoms they rise, but they fall to the ground. Tear it all down, tear it all down. Some kingdoms they rise, but they fall to the ground.
Thanks for singing. Top marks. I think I'll give you Best Audience of the Tour Yet award. That was fantastic. Thank you. This is a very special instrument. This is called a mandocello, and it's 8 strings on it. It's sort of the bass version of a mandolin, I guess, in a way. It's used by a lot of people in the English folk scene, and it's a handmade instrument and has a very distinctive kind of sound, because each of these sets of 2 notes is exactly the same. See, 2 strings is the same note. It's got a kind of wonderfully resonant overtone that you'll hear when I start to play in a minute. But it gives voice to this next song. I discovered this song in Belfast Linhall Library when I was doing research for a project, called North by East, and I was working with a flautist and piper, a wonderful guy called Callum Stewart from Morrisher, in the northeast of Scotland, and he lived at the time in the northeast of England, and I'm originally from the northeast of Ireland, now living in the northeast of England, and we came together to kind of trace our own musical heritage, I suppose, the songs and the tunes and the stories behind them from these three very distinctive but yet very similar parts of the British Isles. And so this was one of the songs I discovered, and it's about a little village that sits at the bottom of the thing called the Ards Peninsula. That's the bit that sticks out like a dog's leg into the Irish Sea in County Down. And at the tip of it is a little village called Portaferry, and there's a port there and a ferry. It's very imaginative. But it's a beautiful place, and you get the ferry over to the other side to Strangford, the village of Strangford, and it's encapsulated at Strangford Loch, and there's some incredible amount of water comes in and out in every tide. It's only a mile wide, which is why it narrows in this amazing billions of tons of water coming in and out. And the ferry needs, I think, to be quite powerful to kind of get over. But I used to go there as a kid and kind of gaze out. And the song is basically all about how the writer of the song really loves this place. And if you live in a place like this, why would you ever want to leave? I guess that's the sentiment behind it. So I hope you feel that way about where you come from, with the writer of this song. Certainly did, and this is back. The song itself, the song itself comes from the 17th century. We weren't sure who wrote it, so it's a tune that I wrote to it, but the words go back that far. So let me take you across the sea, sweet Waterford. You may gaze from green mountains across the bright seas, where wonder and pleasement are taken their ease. You may search the world over from there to Japan, transported with nature and the glories of man. Why should man toil foreign lands to explore, when wonder and pleasement are here at their door? And who would go roving through country and town, and leave Portaferry and the kingdom of God? And though it lies on a harbour convenient and free, where the waters of Strangford run swirling to sea, to bear on their backs all the yield of our toil, where farmer and fisherman plough lake and blood soil. And their bright silver comes in our nets to the strand, and our gold and our glory are planted by hand. And who would trade beauty for gain or renown, and leave Portaferry and the kingdom of God? Do if I were a poor man, I'd work on my land, content with the beauty that I had at my hand. And if I were a rich man, my cares to beguile, I'd fill up my pocket
spirits and I'd wander a while. What though I'd wander on strange lands and seas and think my land living there against these? But I know in old age makes a sage of a climb. Then I'd seek ports of fairy and the kingdom. Well, I'd seek ports of fairy and the kingdom. Well, I'd seek ports of fairy and the kingdom all time.
We're going to stay in Ireland. For years and years, my parents had a caravan in west of Donegal and in a place called Narran. And at the top of the road there was a little sign, and it said the Wild Atlantic Way. And for years I thought, what a romantic name for a tiny little lane that led down to a campsite. You know? But actually, I should have known better, because of course the Wild Atlantic Way is actually a trail that runs from the very top of Ireland to the bottom, and it traces the entirety of the west coast. You know, it's about 2,500 kilometres long. It's not just a driveway. Anyway, and it's very appropriate. I just realised that I've lifted the wrong guitar. Hazard of. Let's try that again. Hold that thought. This will be the right guitar. Anyway, yeah, the Wild Atlantic Way. So I always felt, and I don't know if you visited the western edges of the British Isles at any time, but it's the kind of place that if you've got stuff that's troubling you, if you've got stuff that's weighing you down, and you're trying to work things out, that's the place to go. I don't know, there's something about staring out to sea or being at the fringes, you know, that things start to make a little bit more sense. You might not find any answers, but you'll come back and somehow you can cope with getting on with things, and I've always found that to be the case when we've gone over there. So this is my song in tribute to the Wild Atlantic Way. It's simply called Wild Atlantic Way, and maybe as you hear it, you can picture yourself standing there looking out to the Atlantic, and the gale hurling in at you, and all that kind of stuff. So, oh yeah, I'm going to flick this on you as well. For those watching in black and white, this is my thought.
It's hard to see how we will mend. Stand a while at the western edge, hearing of the ocean tide, and know that we'll be healed inside. Try again to work it out, talk it over in the narrow light. Maybe after all the storm brings peace, a turbulent recovery. When the breeze is up make us whole. On the wild Atlantic way, pressure seems to bear us down. We'll go to the island with its holy ground. Take the causeway to the unexplored, and know that we will be restored. And when the breeze is up, and I can feel it in my soul, like the blessing of God. It will come to make us whole. On the wide sea, while we dream those bigger dreams, they will carry you like they carry me. And when the breeze is up, and I can feel it in my soul, like the blessing of God. It will come to make us whole. On the wide Atlantic way.
Okay, I'm not going to prove that men cannot do two things at once, because I'm going to try and tune a guitar and talk to you at the same time. Tell you what, see this radiator behind me here? It's powerful hot, and I feel like I'm getting fried from behind. That was a plea for help. Anybody knows how to turn it down? No? Okay, fine. So we're back with... Be right back with you when I've survived the inferno. Yeah. It's like my own private sauna. So I think I've lost about 3 pounds in weight.
Maybe it's just on and off.
Maybe it's just on or off. Well, off is good. I'm quite happy with off. Anyway, there you go. So is that the first time Radiator stopped play at the Acoustic night? Is that, Back in 2015, let's carry on. I had the privilege of being the songwriter in residence at a wonderful place called the Mining Institute in Newcastle upon Tyne. Or to give it its full title, it was called the North East of England Institute for Mining and Mechanical Engineering. It's a hell of an acronym if you want to look it up, but basically it contains about 30,000 documents in an archive relating to the extractive industries, mining, basically going back to the 14th century. And it's sort of like, it's basically the documentation of the entirety of the Industrial Revolution, you know, all sorts of things. So it's got maps and books and plans and pictures and all kinds of things. I often kind of joke, well, no, only half joking, that if you want to know what's underneath your house in the northeast, that's the place to go to find out. But you might not want to. But anyway, there you go. So, my job as the songwriter in residence was to tell the story of this archive through original songs. I wasn't looking for songs in the archive. I was looking for stories about which I could write songs. And the idea was that we'd do the album together, and then I would go out in former pit communities and I would play the music to people who used to actually work in the industry. And we did that in 2015, and it was a tremendous thing to be involved with. But the first day of the residence, I walked in through the door and I thought, where do I start with 30,000 documents, you know? And the librarian, she plunked a couple of volumes down on the table in front of me, and she said, you need to start with these. And it was 2 volumes of the 2nd edition of the 1953 book, Practical Coal Mining. Now, if you were an aspiring mining engineer, everything that you needed to know was contained within these 2 volumes, right? So it was all, because it was the 1953 edition, it was full of those beautiful kind of sort of charcoal etched drawings, you know, cross sections of geology, sort of machinery at the pit head, details of what miners used to do and shouldn't do, and props and all this kind of thing. It was really fascinating. I'm not an engineer, but I was really drawn in. And I thought, how on earth do I turn this into? And I was looking at the contents section, particularly of Volume 1, I have to say, and it was like it had a rhythm and rhyme almost of its own. So this was all a bit. So anyway, I give you the 1953, the 2nd edition of Practical Coal Mining in song.
Oh, the industry is a vast concern, the biggest of its kind. And there is a great kind of literature on the trades to be found. Despite the wealth of technical tomes, there's no comprehensive edition to help the miner possess all the knowledge the best, do the work underground. And all of these things, you know where to find them. Just open your copy of Practical Coal Mining. And the story of coal, the rocks and fossils, principal coal fields, boring, searching, sinking, drifting methods of machines, of subsidence and roof control, and atmospheric conditions, air distribution, illumination, the avoidance of disease. And all of these things, you know where to find them. Just open your copy of Practical Coal Mining. Principles you do well to mind them. Just open your copy of Practical Coal Mining. Pages and attachments, all the headgear and the sheaves, scraper chain conveyors and the management of steam, signaling devices, long wall covered shuttle cars, ropes and track equipment from the sidings to the yards. Now this book deals with production, though we hold such big reserves. There's need for fuel economy, stocks to be preserved, and the miner needs the best reward. This country can afford him future wealth, the nation's health, rich prosperity. And all of these things, you know where to find them. Just open your copy of Practical Coal Mining. Principles you do well to mind them. Just open your copy of Practical Coal Mining. Oh, all of these things, you know where to find them. Just open your copy of Practical Coal Mining. absent-minded. Volumes over ages, from miners in the cages, wisdom in the pages of practical gold mining.
I have to say, one of the bizarrest things I think that has ever happened to me as a songwriter was about 2 years after this project, I was in a gig in Southampton, and it was at the Interval, and the album is called The Usual Quarterly Days is the name of the album, and we were selling them after the concert, and I'd sung this song, but that was the only one I'd sung from the album that night, and a gentleman came up and he had brought a copy of Practical Gold and wanted me to sign it. And I was just thinking, gosh, these engineers who put their life and soul into this thing in some... Anyway, it was very random, very strange, but never knew where the music's going to. Okay. About a month ago, I was part of a songwriting retreat with some other artists. And we all share the same publisher, and the publisher had kind of arranged for us to connect and sort of do some songwriting together. And anyway, it was sort of late in the afternoon, and I was in a room with a wonderful singer-songwriter called Chris Cleverly from the Midlands, another songwriter called Sam Gillespie, who's part of the Brothers Gillespie from Northumberland, and another lovely lady called Emily Lawler, who's a fiddler and singer from York. So there we were, and the publisher was giving us, we were doing speed writing. It's not at all like speed dating, but kind of, it's where you kind of get together enough to write a song in an hour, right? And so he was giving us the topics that we should write on, and then leaving the room. And he said, right, I want you guys to write about sunshine. And then he left the room. And bear in mind, it was the end of the day, we were tired, and on the way down I listened to this article on radio about how AI was going to make everything redundant. So we were feeling kind of, just a bit hacked off, I suppose. So we decided to write an anti-sunshine song. And it's called Sunshine Apocalypse. And it's about the sun kind of coming to an end. But don't worry, that's billions of years from now. But anyway, this is our... I thought I'd just try it out on you because you seem like nice people. So. Don't get too down. It's really happy, really. Here we go. It's always good to try things out for the first time. The sunshine
Everything changed when the world rearranged. What once shone so bright is burning my eyes. Everything changed. You've been turning that wheel, coaxing that seed. We've been strumming this lyre, praise of your fire, but now there's a new deal. It's all gonna explode someday, swallow us whole. Great supernova, and when it's all over, we won't know that everything's changed. This is a fiddle solo. Things will unravel, direction of travel will feel increasingly dark. In the afterglow, let me explain. everything's changed. It's all gonna explode someday, swallow us whole. Great supernova, and when it's all over, we won't know that everything's changed. In the afterglow, let me explain, well, everything's changed. Everything's changed.
You too, Ken. Thank you very much for letting me play that to you. That's thanks to Chris Cleverly, Sam Gillespie, Emily Lawler, and myself. And I hope that cheered you out. Okay. One more before we take a bit of a break, and we'll get a bit of refreshment. And I'm sure that Andy and the team will be happy to serve you all kinds of delicacies and wonders. And I've been eyeing the tray bakes because they look really nice. Are there any left?
Yes.
Oh, good. Excellent, excellent. So, try bakes. That's cool. It may not have escaped your notice that once it gets to November the 25th, we all have permission to think about Christmas. Because, 25 to 25, that's allowed. So I thought I would send you out of this first half with a song of the coming season. I've done 2 Christmas albums in my time, both kind of, I guess, acoustic takes on classic carols and sort of traditional songs and things like that. So I'm going to send us into the interval with this one. It's a version of Christina Rossetti's Love Came Down at Christmas, but I've totally changed it, so you won't recognise it apart from the words. So that's part of it. But anyway, she was a wonderful poet, I have to say. She wrote it in 1885, would you believe? It started life as a poem, and it only became a song in the 1900s, sort of when somebody picked it up and set it to another tune. So anyway, Love Came Down at Christmas. And I'll see you after the break. Oh, and I have CDs and mailing lists and things like that. It'll all change your life, so come and see me afterwards. Love Came Down at Christmas.
Love came down at Christmas, love all lovely and love divine. Love was born at Christmas, star and angels gave the sign. When love came down at Christmas. Worship we the Godhead, love incarnate and love divine. Worship we our Jesus, but wherewith for sacred sign. When love came down at Christmas. Love shall be our token, love be yours and love be mine. Love to God and to all men, love for plea and gift and sign. When love came
Yeah, I spent some in I spent some with the company. They're small venue, we can't really yeah, the Wi-Fi's not working. I thought it was you said that already. You said that already. American stuff. You've just found out. Green now. Almost can't be Harry's just I thought it was like recently on the yeah, you get both. Need to get big venue.
So yeah, for sure.
If anybody doesn't put their name in here, it's okay. But you can get one. It's over here on
22nd of February.
Yeah, in the hall there's a bar, so that has some area of something else. So it's a single, so you play around, so most of the Irish and all the British backgrounds. Well, everything is right. I do the novelty positive. So, yeah, you can't carry it. I live most of my life singing. It's kind of your wrist. I went up for a chemical bike. Well, I'm kind of trying to play some just I don't know what it's doing. On the curve. Yeah, it's a curve. It's a curve that size. So I'm used to coming off bikes and mountain bike curves. And I was pelting along. And I hit it. I didn't see it, I didn't notice it. Two things were coming together. And I'm trying to do that. Just took the wheel for us to it. Yeah, and I ended up on the top, and there's quite a lot of damage done, to be honest. Patched myself up the road, like you do. But thrills and spills, but it's killing it. Yeah, I said rest it, but it's one of those things that different to tell the X-rays doesn't tell the it's kind of it just catches you at certain points. It's a classic. It's what you do. You come up with like skits and that's not. Yeah, well, it can't happen. I was yeah, I'm planning to do that next year, actually. Yeah, I've got a folding bike, so I'm going to catch the train to Liverpool and then ride back in a number of steps. Yeah. Yeah. That's where I just came up in Sheffield. I was going on before I just came up inside. What it was sometimes I came under the bridge and there was one from the road above coming down and they were just coming closer and closer together. And I thought there was nothing. I just turned in and that was that. It just takes the momentum, the momentum just takes you over. I was Yeah, I used to go so I used to be absolutely well, if you go generally from Belfast down that way. But anyway, we came back through on one occasion, but I think because it's a prayer. It's very nice of that big strong currents generating interest. I'm loving the music anyway. This stuff. Put my guitar playing to shame.
No, yours is good. You know what?
Tell them to stop.
You know yours is good.
I know they do it with some friends. So while we get this thing sorted out. The problem is, I can still play finger picking and not the world's greatest blues, but I'm supposed to rest it, and
So frustrating.
do I want to play, so I might be singing on the conference tomorrow, but I might.
I love it, someone's special.
Cornelius is also good, again, that I might, you never know.
Bring that tambourine in your left hand.
What?
Tambourine in your left hand.
I tambourine. Yeah, I drove down to my mother's today. Yeah, that was 400 miles of driving. And of course, we're, as ever, watching the Crescent Church thing. Down to Scranton to go to the
Thanks for staying. It's always encouraging to have an audience in the second half. It's a good thing. So a few years back, the family and I, we've got 3 children, two boys and a girl. They're all grown up now, but we took a trip when they were fairly little up to the west coast, to the Isle of Mull, and we promised them that the whole way from Northumberland, where we live now, until we got up there, that they would see the stunning West Highland scenery. They'd be wowed by mountains and all the rest of it. As luck would have it, it rained the entire way, and they saw precisely nothing about, say, for 50 yards in front. Got to the island and the Isle of Mull, and we'd gone with another family, and on the second day he hired a mountain bike and went off, promptly fell off and broke his arm. And they had to make a very quick decision to get the ferry within an hour and a half back off the island to get back down to Glasgow, because there was nowhere on the island that they could kind of sort it out. So they left us with their 2 kids, our 3 kids, in the middle of nowhere with 1 car on the Isle of Mull. It's a terrific holiday. And it's one thing, I have to say, picking ticks off your own children, but try picking ticks off somebody else's children. Anyway, we went off one day to Tobermory, and we kind of walked around from the town, and we came across this wonderful lighthouse. And the sun even came out for the first time in about 4 days, and it was one of those kind of moments. And the lighthouse is situated so you could see across the Sound of Mull, you could see Ardnamurchan Point, you could see out to the Western Isles. It was absolutely glorious. And I've always been interested in lighthouses, I have to say, but never thought too deeply about all the stories that are kind of connected with them, why they were built, who designed them, how the technology kind of went on, the people that were saved because they were there or not, as the case may be. So many things contained. And when I got back to Tobermory, I picked up a book in the bookshop there. A wonderful book called Stargazing by Peter Hill. And it's he now lives in a lighthouse in New Zealand, but at the end of the 60s he was an art student in Dundee. And he dropped out of college to answer a newspaper ad to be an apprentice lighthouse keeper. And off he went. The story, basically, the book is all about how he spends time in some of the westernmost lights. And it's beautifully, wonderfully written, really descriptive. And I was really inspired when I came home. So I wrote this song called The Scottish Lights, and it's a bit of a trip around the west coast, I suppose, and mentioning a lot of different lights as I go. Not all of them, because there's about 600 of them, and that would be a folk opera or something. So maybe I'll write that. Anyway, The Scottish Lights, let me take you up north.
Well, I'm here in the west of the island of Arran. I'm stood on the small isle of the ladder, and I'm staring out to sea, and I'm thinking of ships that look for the light to guide them. So I move off to Barra, the Flammans and North Rona, each with their mystery and mercy. Through the winds at Cape Wrath, the heavy seas at Fair Isle, each with their light to warn me. And those lights make no sound as they pirouette round, giving hope to the mariners who see them. And I'm moved by their solitude that part the sea, and I look for your light to guide me. Stand on the bellrock, giving thanks to the great architect for the lighthouse he built there in the midst of the swell. Still stands to his praise and glory. Now the light is above me, and it's held me in wonder the many years that I've tried to follow. And though sometimes I've traveled through the storm and the mist, it's always shone out to find me. And those lights make no sound as they pirouette around, giving hope to the mariners who see them. And moved by their solitude, the heart of the sea, and I look for your light to guide me. I look for your light. Oh, la, 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 la. I'm seduced by the names of these far-off lights, so scary, revile, art and murkin. And I dwell on those keepers that used to stand watch. I think on the times they spent there. But you know I've never set foot on the fair Scottish lights. No, it's only a song that I'm dreaming. One day I'll make it to wonder and pray, and gaze on the white horizon. And those lights make no sound as they pirouette around, giving hope to the mariners who see them. And I'm moved by their solitude, the heart of the sea. I look for your light to guide me. No, those lights make no sound as they pirouette around, giving hope to the mariners who see them. And I'm moved by their solitude, the heart of the sea. And I look for your light to guide me. I look for your light. Oh, la, la, la.
So recently, of late, I have been very involved in a project up in the northeast, or a collaboration is probably a better way to put it, a collaboration which is all about northeast women, and it's called Away the Lasses, and there are 4 of us. It's myself, my daughter Ronnie, Annie Ball, who's a classical pianist and singer, and Katie Turtell, who's American but for some reason lives in the northeast of England and plays cello. Incredibly talented musicians all, and wonderful to work with them. And we all during lockdown started collaborating, and we all really have a passion, I guess, to tell the untold stories about women in our region and about all the different things. So we've written about engineers, we've written about scientists, mathematicians. We've written about the Newcastle United women's football team, which bizarrely led us to playing in St James's Park at the centre circle. Totally mad, in front of 28,000 people. It was weird, but wonderful, and I was a total fanboy the whole time. But that's also, I can tell you about that another time. But we've written about all sorts of characters. When we started off the project and we were looking for where we would begin, we discovered a little animation that was made in 1973. It's just 2 minutes long. And it was done by a wonderful lady, animator, artist, and just all-round fantastic person called Sheila Graber, G-R-A-B-E-R, Sheila Graber. She was born and raised in South Shields. And the little animation was called Away the Lasses, and it was all about women's liberation through time, and kind of traces from the cavemen times up to the present day kind of thing, but all done with cartoons. She's wonderful. She's probably best known, although in a way hardly known at all, for animating Paddington Bear for the BBC series in the 1980s. That was her. She also drew, filmed, and stop motion filmed, and then syndicated out her entirely on her own in her dining room table in South Shields. Rudyard Kipling's Just So Stories. She did the whole of them, and it's still shown, I think, in different places around the world. Through all that time, while she was an animator, she still taught at high school, and we keep meeting people who she taught. She said, "Oh yes, I know she taught. She was my art teacher." She's absolutely lovely. She's in her 80s now, and she came to one of our concerts, and we'd written a song about her, and that was the first time she'd ever heard the song, which was a tremendous honour for us. And she even though it was a big gig, she actually got up on the stage at the end of the song to hug us all. So we had to pause the gig for a minute because there was an animator on stage. But it was wonderful. Sheila's wonderful, and she's still with us. Comes and has a cup of tea now and again. So this is her story in a simple little song, just about her wonderful talent and all the things that she's done in her beautiful life. So, Sheena Griffin.
Frame by frame, scene by scene, tiny fragments start to mean much more than their separate parts, brought to life by your skill and art. A labor of love, imagination, just so stories on your dining room table, beauty in poise, stop then motion, a world of wonder in your animation. Frame by frame, scene by scene, shapes and lines they start to seem more like real and moving things. Your hobby brought to the national screen. A labor of love, imagination, just so stories on your dining room table, beauty in poise, stop then motion, a world of wonder in your animation. From testing movements, throwing shapes, the tiny little changes everything makes, to watching feline insight brought into how an elephant walks. For even with an animator's eye, you can never tell until you try, being lost in creative space where creatures roam and Paddington plays. A labor of love, imagination, just so stories on your dining room table, beauty in poise, stop then motion, a world of wonder in your animation. The river runs and time it yields the colors that pour through your house in shades.
If you go to awaythelasses.com, it's our website, and Sheila, when she heard that song, believe it or not, she went home and 2 days later sent us a little animation that she'd made to go with the song. And so you can see the animation on the website, which is all about her life. So go have a look, it's absolutely wonderful, and we're so glad that we met her, so check out her work. You never know where the music is going to take you. It's quite extraordinary sometimes. You have a little idea, you write a song, and then somehow or other you end up in these sort of completely outrageous circumstances. There's no good reason why you should be there. And this next song is probably the one that happened to me most with, if you can say that. I was very interested in the Second World War. I always have been, I guess, in the history of it. My grandfather fought at Monte Cassino and was invalided out to Belfast for some reason. He was Welsh, but he was in the Welsh Guards, but he ended up in Belfast, and the rest is our family history. But I wanted to discover, for an album I did called Chasing Light back in 2009, I was fascinated by parts of the conflict that I'd never really learned about. And I ended up reading the official British history of the war at sea. And one of the things that I knew a little bit about the Atlantic convoys, but I never knew about the Arctic convoys. And they were incredibly secret at the time. I think during the conflict, not many people, if anybody at all, really knew about it, but it was authorised personally by Churchill that these merchant navy seamen and ships would sail from Loch Ewe, which is right the way up on the northwest coast of Scotland, up to Iceland and then across into the Arctic Circle in the Barents Sea and down to Murmansk and Archangel at the very top of Russia. And they were taking munitions to help the Russians fight the Nazis on the Eastern Front. And it was it was dangerous enough to try and dice with the Luftwaffe and the German Navy, but never mind the weather conditions. Even in summer it could get unbelievably cold, and they were spending time almost hourly chipping ice off the side of the boats to stop them toppling over, and all kinds of just unbelievable privations that these guys went through. I wrote this song about one particular convoy. Each convoy had a number on the way out and a different number on the way back. And this one convoy had a number of PQ-17, and it was ordered to do the one thing that convoys were never supposed to do, which was to scatter. The convoy system worked because they were together and because the escorts were all around about them. So as you can imagine, when they were ordered to scatter because of rather duff information about a big German pocket battleship that they thought was in the area but wasn't, so they scattered, and only a third of the convoy actually made it back. It's been notorious in Arctic convoy history. And anyway, wrote the song, put it out there. And a year later I was called by the Arctic Convoy Museum and said, would you come and sing your song? Because the veterans who served during that war, who've never been recognised, are being awarded a medal called the Arctic Star by the British government. And the medal ceremony is at Pullew Village Hall. Come up and play your song while they get awarded their medal. And I thought, goodness, how did I end up in that? That's just amazing. It's one of the most humbling things I've ever got to do. And I actually met some fellas who were on the convoy PQ-17, which was incredible. So this is their story, the story of the Arctic convoy, PQ-17.
North Atlantic to the Barents Sea, when the waves hit deck they freeze. Arctic convoy 25 below, no one was supposed to know. Feeding the Eastern Front till the battle's won. We fought the darkness in the midnight sun, and there's nowhere to hide here in the circle, and there's nowhere to run if we go down. It's a cruel war, and we'd change it if we could. We sailed north for the greater good. Warnings given and a change of course. Enemy ships overwhelming force. Ordered to scatter, make it on our own. The escorts left and headed home. We knew the risks, but it made no sense. Alone on the ocean there was no defense, and there's nowhere to hide here in the circle, and there's nowhere to run if we go down. It's a cruel war, we'd change it if we could. We sailed north for the greater good. And they picked us off one by one. Does the first sea lord know what he's done? Of 36 merchants fit to serve, 25 gone, 'cause you lost your nerve. And there's nowhere to hide here in the circle, and there's nowhere to run if we go down. It's a cruel war, and we'd change it if we could. We sailed north for the greater good. North Atlantic to the Barren Sea. When the waves hit deck, they freeze.
This is a very dangerous part of the evening because it's lullaby time. And I fear I may lose the audience. But everybody, if you're a musician and everything simply just stopped in March 2020, there was nothing for it but to have a project. Things that everybody that I knew as a lockdown project, and I can't do two things at once. Sorry. Lockdown project. Mine was learning. I've spent my life around sort of studios and stuff like that, but never quite sort of grasped the audio engineering side for myself. I mean, I know a little bit about it, but during lockdown, I set up a home studio and kind of learned a lot of that stuff. Enough to do my first ever. I mean, I've done about 16 albums over time. But my first ever sort of completely home-produced album where I played everything, sang everything, and did all the producing, the mixing, and all that kind of stuff. It was fascinating, but it's called Truth, Tradition, Profits and Loss, and it's still, you can stream it on all the services, and I haven't got any physical copies of it left, but you can get it on their website. But I decided to explore a lot of songs that I'd never been quite brave enough to kind of put on albums before, so a lot of Irish songs that I love and all that kind of thing. So this is one of them. I remember this as a kid, a beautiful melody being haunted by it. It's called My Lagan Love. Lots of artists have done versions of this over the years. Probably most notably Sinead O'Connor. I love her version, the late great Sinead O'Connor. And so if you get a chance listening to hers. But it always reminds me, I guess, of those nights in May, where they just start to lengthen out a little bit and the warmth really probably comes back. And you kind of know that summer's coming in, and so it just reminds me of that. So it's a love song. So maybe we can go there, even though it's nearly 1 below or something outside. But I'm not as roasting now, so it's kind of slightly less red behind it. Anyway, My Wagon Love, and permission to close your eyes, but don't follow anyone. We're lagging streams sing lullaby. There blows a lily fair. The twilight gleam is in her eye. The night is on her hair, and like a lovesick lamb she has my heart enthralled, nor life I own, nor liberty, for love is Lord of all. And often when the beetle's horn has lulled the eve to sleep, I steal unto her shieling lorn, and through the door peep. There on the cricket's singing stone, she mends the bogwood fire, and hums and sighs sweet undertones, the songs of heart's desire. We've not long passed, in general terms, thinking about 100 years since the First World War, and I did an album called Now But Not Yet in 2013, and I was looking for something that I could sort of do to write a song about the First World War as we entered that sort of 4 years of commemoration. But something that was going to be a little bit maybe different, because the First World War ballad is almost like it's like a whole genre on its own, and there's been some magnificent songs written that pay tribute to those times and everything, the terrible things that went on. But I came across something that sparked the imagination, and it was an advert to try and sell a farm, and an interview with the farmer that owned it, and it was in Belgium, near a place called Messines. And if you know anything about First World War history, just outside the town there was a ridge, and the British Army was trying to dislodge the German Army right the way through the conflict from this ridge outside the town of Messines. And they came up with this idea that they would tunnel under the German positions across a 9-mile front, and they would plant a series of enormous mines. And when I'm saying mines, we're talking tons and tons and tons of explosive. And the idea was that they would detonate them all at the same time, and in the ensuing confusion, attack and take back the ridge. Now that happened in November 1917, and they did indeed take back the ridge. It was the biggest movement on that front throughout the whole of the conflict. 3 of them failed to go off, and they kind of forgot where they were. 2 of them went off in the 1950s during thunderstorms on a field, which thankfully nobody was injured by, but then the other one, it turns out it's underneath this guy's farm. But not on a field, it's underneath this barn that's next to his house. And so that's a pretty tough job as an estate agent, would you think? And at the end of the interview, they sort of say to him, well, how do you kind of feel about it all? And he just said, well, if it goes off, I will not know, was his attitude. And I just thought, that's tremendous. But it got me thinking, I guess, you know, everything that those guys went through in 1418 and what this guy now lives with, and to my knowledge it's still there and hasn't gone up, but what he lives with day and daily, you know, in considering life and the universe and everything, when it could literally go up in any second. So this is the story, anyway, of Messines.
Sunlight casting water gleams through the contours over time. Feel the cut of battle lines, scars of fury. The landscape tells a story. 22 tons under Belgian clay, unexploded waits its day. Most people would be terrified, but he just takes it in his stride. Deep beneath his dreams, the last of the mines of the sea. He lives with it, just like they lived with it then. Everyday ordinance and ordinary men, thrown together by circumstance. Life in the balance, a gambler's chance, a blast from the past. I hope we never hear again. Fierce attack position held, digging up artillery shells. Historical belligerence, still throwing up its evidence. Shattered then redeemed in the shadow of the mines of the sea. He lives with it, just like they lived with it then. Everyday ordinance and ordinary men, thrown together by circumstance. Life in the balance, a gambler's chance, a blast from the past. I hope we never hear again. He lives with it, just like they lived with it then. Everyday
wistful song as we start to get towards the end of the night, and this is one that I wrote. Which one was it? Probably 2014, 15, maybe 2015, something like that. And it's actually become my most streamed song, and I don't quite know why really, but I'm very glad. I still get no money, but that's fine. So it's called Montserrat, and it's about a little village on the Loire Valley. Everything you'd want from a Loire Valley village. It's got the cobble streets, it's got the window boxes, it's got a chateau, and you can sit and watch the world go by, which is what we did one afternoon when we were on holiday there. My wife and I just spent the whole afternoon just people watching. And it was a joy and a pleasure, I have to say, just to stop, you know, we so rarely stop these days and take everything in. But that's what we did, and when I came back I just penned these wistful little words, and it's become, like I say, for some reason the most streamed song on my Spotify, Apple Music and all the rest of it. And you never know where the music's going to take you. I actually ended up doing an interview with the regional newspaper, I guess the equivalent of the Yorkshire Post in that area, called Courier de l'Ouest, about how the song has been used at the chateau in Montserrat, which was really nice. I had to get my daughter-in-law to translate it because I didn't know if they were saying nice things about it or not, but I think they did. So maybe one day I'll get to go and play this in the beautiful surroundings of Montserrat Chateau. But for now, come a little further south with me, and let's walk where the vineyards are.
When the warm weather comes, let me take you by the hand and we will walk where the vineyards sway. When the day is almost done, we'll reserve a table, then we'll dance as the river rolls by. Here as the sun gently falls, I'll tell you that I love you and that I'll be thinking of you through all these long nights on the road. When I'm headed for tomorrow, it's when I'll remember most. When the warm weather comes, let's run away and linger in the sun, and I will hold you close, and with the breeze upon our faces we'll stare up to the sky, the bluest sky, and never care for time. Here as the sun gently falls, I'll tell you that I love you and that I'll be thinking of you through all these long nights on the road. When I'm headed for tomorrow, it's when I'll remember most. Here as the sun gently falls, I'll tell you that I love you and that I'll be thinking of you That's when I remember all the
Well, just a few more things to do. First thing is to say a very happy birthday to Joe. Where's Joe? Someone is definitely called Joe, and it's his birthday today. Ah, there you are, Joe. Happy birthday to you, my friend. That comes direct from Alan. So if it's not your birthday, maybe you set me up, but anyway, very happy. And ladies and gentlemen, what you didn't know is that was the last song. So thank you very much. Thank you. So we're never going to. There's not really anywhere to go in here, so that was the last song. But this is now the encore, whether you want it or not. Very good. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to sing for you this evening. I hope that you're not too giddy with the journey I've taken you on about all these different places and things. Oh, we're off, Jimmy. It'll be worth it. You will indeed. Okay, so here we go. It is November the 25th, and I thought, given that the temperatures have dropped outside, rather than leave you with something bombastic, I'll leave you with something that's suitable for this evening as the ground whitens up outside. Another Christina Rossetti one for you to send you on your way, which I recorded on my album The Darkest Midnight in December a few years back. Thanks for listening. This is In the Bleak Midwinter. In the bleak midwinter, frosty wind made moan, and earth stood hard as water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow on snow, snow on snow. In the bleak midwinter, heaven cannot hold him, nor the earth sustain. And heaven and earth shall flee away when he comes to reign. And in the bleak midwinter, a stable room suffice for the Lord Almighty, Jesus Christ.
Angels and archangels may have gathered there. Cherubim and seraphim throng the air. But his mother only in her maiden bliss worship the beloved with a kiss. And what then can I give him, poor as I am? And if I were a shepherd, well, I would bring a lamb. And if I were a wise man, yet I would do my part. But what can I give him? Well, I will give my heart.
Thanks to Andy, thanks to Alan, thanks to Acoustic, thanks to everyone. Thank you for having me.